You know what's funny, but like in a really unfunny way? The way people say that life is complicated. Naturally, if somebody says something like that, clearly they have not seen how peaceful life is when you go in a place where it seems like all the constructs of society has been demolished. When you do not see anymore this whole agenda that every person runs by, rushing to go to work in a workplace that people don't even like. In fact, they feel like it's hell for them. Most people hate what they do for a living. And then you see all of the other details of, you know, do not forget to pay your taxes, do not forget to give this information to the government, to um, go to the doctor because something has happened. There are millions of other things that people just have to always have on their mind. So basically, it's just a chase of things we do not even like doing or things that we could do better without overall. In my opinion, I believe that life in itself is not that complicated. I do think that sometimes, since life is made out of duality, there will be always bad times, there will always be pain, destruction, death, and that is a natural cycle of life and is natural and normal. But the problem is, when does it start to be a problem? When does the imbalance towards the bad start to be more prominent than the neutral stasis of life itself, when there is normally a balance between bad times and good times, neutral times? From what I see, it's more leaning towards the imbalance of bad, people being imbalanced because even their own life is imbalanced. Society in itself has been constructed to make the average person, right, be always triggered, like their nervous system is always on high alert, always triggered, always agitated, always basically attacked. Could say that the nervous system is attacked. There is not even a homeostasis between phases anymore. It's almost like we always are in survival. And I do feel like that, but from what I see, most people also live like that, and a lot of them don't even notice. It's not about that if you don't notice, then it's not happening. It's more like you are unaware that it's happening. And I think that's why the main reason people don't ever rise up to this false system, of corruption of freedom, corruption of living life as it should be to live in balance. It's because, well, first of all, people are kind of stupid. They People don't like to think too much, because thinking too much brings more pain, right? So it's easier to live in oblivion and ignorance and just live by the day, even though the day is horrible, the system of the day is horrible, the societal pressure and structure is horrible, but we do not think about the big picture, because if we go in that direction, then it will start to hurt. Most people cannot handle that, cannot handle anything complicated. Complicated because some people have made it to be complicated. And most people don't like that, they don't like to think about it or actually question whether there is another way to live, because that is what they have been conditioned to live by. For example, in my school, okay, in my last school that I went to, I changed a lot of schools, so that's why I'm saying the last one. There was a teacher who was okay, I don't have anything against that teacher, but there was one day that he told us something very interesting that made me so mad. He said like, you have to, something on the lines of, you have to remember that once you go to work you won't have the freedom to do as you want. You need to always do as you are told. When your boss will tell you, tomorrow you have to work, it doesn't matter if you were free, you have to go and work. If your boss says, this and this, you have to obey, otherwise you will be left without a job. And he told us basically that we have to obey whatever this boss says, that we need to basically um, follow every command, every wish, every request. There is not even a request, just like every demand, we have to follow that. And if we do not do that and we disobey, then we won't have a job. And then what do you think you will do? You need to have a job, and that is a conditioning from school. Imagine that, from a teacher that was like talking outside of his domain. It was not about the thing he was teaching, it was more like an overall perspective of how we should start seeing life. And everybody, like, they were like very open to talking, blah blah. But when this teacher said that, then everybody got like, they were listening and like they were scared. I could see that everybody was scared. They were fearing their own life, questioning if they have any right to even be themselves. And don't get me wrong, I think the whole concept of school is kind of stupid too, because yeah, there is a lot of disrespect in general, and I do believe the whole system of school is wrong. But I won't get into that because I don't want to talk about that in this video. But the thing is to tell these kids, right, that they have to obey everything their boss tells them. Then what do you think it will bring them? It will bring fear. And what does the government do? It brings fear. It's always about fear. How do you control people? Through fear. It's like you need them. They teach you that you, in order to live, you need them. You need the government, you need a boss, you need this, you need this, you need a powerful force of subjugation to survive. That's what they tell you. And then when you do get this position of survival, then you just have to survive until you, one, get a sort of disorder, a sickness until you die, or two, you completely lose your own soul by working your whole life in a thing you don't even enjoy doing. And they call it life. And that is why I believe that life is not complicated per se. It is people that have made it to be complicated. It is people that made a scheme, a construction of society, and like the norm of how we are supposed to live, in a way that is actually destroying us. If we actually rebuild this construction of life, like society, society, because it's all about society, it's not about a government or whatever. I think the government shouldn't even be there. The government, when there is a power, such a strong power like a government or whatever, a king or whatever, it will be always an imbalance of power and rights. So the rich people will always have the rights to do whatever they please and take everything from you, and you are left powerless. That will always be like that. And so society, in order for society to actually have a place of liberty and freedom and enjoyment of life itself, they are supposed to construct a system of their own benefit, to benefit them. And what does that mean? In my opinion, that is when everybody does what they are good at, when everybody does what they are. I do believe that our soul has a blueprint and we are good at certain things. We are good at being something. There are always people that are good at something, everybody. But the current um, life we are living, it's more like you need to be somebody else to survive, and then they tell you that you are worthless because you do not assume your role, that you don't even are that role. You don't even resonate, but you have to have that role in order to survive. How can you be happy? You cannot be happy. You cannot even be in a peaceful state, you know. When people actually have the freedom to do whatever they are good at, to actually pursue whatever they can bring to life itself, then there won't even be that much of chaos, you know. There will always be bad things, but if everybody does what they love doing, then joy of life will be primordial, you know. And if there is joy in life, then don't you think that kindness will also prosper? Because unhappy people will always be cruel, you know, because a certain degree of unhappiness and desperation and being survival all those years will bring something very ugly out from the person, because it's normal. If you are in survival, you will start acting in survival. That means being mean, being cruel, being abusive, etc. But if everybody has what they need, and not in a way that government gives it to you, like you give the government is like you give us everything, all of you, all, nothing remains, and what we give you is survival. That is the contract you have right now, unless you are one of the lucky ones that have managed to live, you know, outside of this scheme and are actually enjoying life by doing what you love. No, good for you, but I mean for the average person that has not arrived at that place, or probably will never arrive at that place, because the truth is that not a lot of people arrive at that place, you know. And so if you build a society upon doing what you're good at, then you are left with your soul, and you are left with who you are. You are left with your own respect for yourself, and the outcome of this will be that you also, since you love life, you love yourself, you love no, you are content with that which you are. You feel appreciated for what you give, and life itself also is peaceful because you are doing what you love. So obviously you will be in a peaceful state. Your nervous system will be calm. You will feel calm, you know. And that also means that people won't be mean to each other because everybody does what they love. But people are complicated, and that is why I'm getting at right now. People are complicated. People that actually do see it that way of let's build something that will benefit us are not many, and most people are too stupid to even take it seriously. No, they will laugh at you. They will say you are stupid for even saying that, because maybe that is their blueprint. Now I just remembered a quote from Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. You know, I think there are people with their blue soul blueprint that, like, they live to be like that. They live to bring you down, you know. They live to bring society basically into corruption. And that is part of the duality of life, you know. That is another aspect of the universe. Maybe I will also read that page of the book because I think it fits. I didn't even think it would cross my mind, but it did. So anyway, people are complicated. Look at us. We have everything here, you know, on Earth. Yet we build laws that are against people themselves. We obey laws that destroy us. We create wars. Why? For domination. Domination of what? We all have our place on Earth. We all have everything we need. So why do you need to dominate more? Why do you need to kill? Why do you need to subjugate? gender, sexuality, whatever. That is not necessary. Literally, look at us. We could have actually a very beautiful time here on earth. We don't even know why we are here, so why not make this time worth our while by enjoying it, you know? Why do we need to create hell on earth to feel alive? And people are complicated. Most people, if you see the ones that actually manage to arrive at a position of power that has influence um, over people, right? They always, most of the time, are the people that seek to destroy, to dominate, to create chaos. It's always them. And the people that actually have arrived in a position of power that have good intentions, like I know Princess Diana was a good person, like she wanted the best for people, but she was killed. Michael Jackson was also a very beautiful soul that cared, you know, a lot. He was also killed. All people that have had a good soul were somehow uh, corrupted to be killed, you know, like not corrupted to be killed, but like something has happened to them. And to the people that actually are horrible on this earth, it's like they are protected. It's rare that they even get, any sort of punishment or whatever, just to get it, to get something negative, you know, from people or whatever. No, they're always protected, which is kind of weird when you think about it. Anyway, why do we support a system that is seeking to destroy? Why, in the first place, we accept to be destroyed for our own benefit? Because that is the presumption of we give you this so you can survive, but it's more like you are destroying me and you are telling me that I need you for me to survive. So who is the problem here? What is the problem? Is life the problem? Or are people the problem? Are people that actually obey and listen to the people in power that are trying to subrogate and destroy them? Are the people that actually destroy everything the problem? What is the issue here in life? Because life in itself, go in nature, do you see a problem? Yes, animals also have to survive, but they are in homeostasis when they are not running from a predator. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, destruction will always be present in life. That is part of the duality. It's normal. Creation, destruction is primordial. It's not that the problem. The problem is that there is an imbalance in the natural kingdom of nature, right? You see a balance. You will always see a balance if left alone. But with people, there is always an imbalance. It's like we just simply love to be corrupted, destroyed, and tortured. And we say, thank you, Master, for torturing us today. That's what we do. We thank the hand that slaps us every single day in the face, and we call it life. What a beautiful day to be alive. What do you think? Leave a comment. These kind of my thoughts on something that I have recently thought about, you know. I wanted to also share it. Subscribe if you want more of this type of content, and give me a like. It will be nice. Alright, bye. Bye bye.